Da da da! What's my good cheer? Welcome, welcome, everybody. Not sure if I could do any better than that. I really drummed it up because my intro is my catcher. I understand that I have 5 seconds to catch your attention, and you might offer me up another 5 seconds in that if I move it on. Hi, I'm Cindy. I explore the inside and the outside. We're going to give YouTube a couple of minutes, get those notifications out, let people know that I've gone live. You know, today and yesterday and the day before and the day before that, all week long, I've been getting smacked silly in all aspects of my life. And yet, I look out at the world and I see the people that I care for, the people that I have interactions with, people I have relationships with, my peers, right? And those people that I work for, right? In this job that puts the roof over my head that I am so grateful to have, that I have to go back to work tomorrow and I don't feel so poop hot right now, right? But this is what it is. We move forward. Sometimes life smacks us silly, and we have that choice whether to sit on our haunches and cry the blues or pull ourselves up, dust our knees off, right? And just get back to it. Lots of times it's what we need the most. Some of those most desperately anxious, sad moments in my life that I didn't know how I was going to keep myself together. It was that job that I had that would keep me together. It was that responsibility and accountability to other people that made it so that I had something to preoccupy myself to help me get through a difficult time where I just might have wanted to crumble or give up. Yesterday, I was pretty sick yesterday. And it was my intent to come in, but at every moment, right? And I said, okay. And I just like, okay, another 5 minutes, I did that all day. I did that all night, right? Until I come to the realization that, you know what, right? Something is telling me to slow down. Something is telling me to take care of myself, to let the live show go, that I was more important, that I wasn't going to be able to bring much to the table. Yesterday, my day off, and I had to go to the store, but I was looking forward to it at the same time. So I took me forever. When I say it took me forever, it took me about 2 hours to get my snow pants on, get geared up, all those things, and procrastinating and going out into the snow. It was pretty cold. Today it warmed up quite a bit. If you don't know, I'm from Winnipeg, Manitoba. We get pretty cold here in the winter. Today, not bad. I think it's zero right now, 0 degrees Celsius. So that's pretty amazing for January 15th, right? Actually, it's pretty good. It should be like minus 40 right now. I'm not complaining, right? And I am enjoying watching the differences in the normalities of what winter is usually like, right? It could possibly rain tonight. Now, that would be dangerous for Winnipeg in the winter because even though it's at zero right now, it's going to freeze overnight. And that ice will make those streets so slick. It will make the sidewalks very slick. And we are a city that does love the outdoors. And I was talking about the outdoors, and I had to go to the store last night, and I was looking forward to the fresh air. And I got my gear on, and finally 2 hours later, I'm walking out the door and I'm killing birds. I'm doing laundry and throwing garbage out and checking mail and whatever I'm doing, right? Just get it all done in one shot. And then I walk across the street, and I could tell that I was wobbling a little bit. Got to the grocery store, I could feel I was just wobbling a little bit up and down the aisles. I wasn't feeling good. I caught myself a cold, and I let myself off last night. And I didn't feel guilt and shame because I felt that I truly needed not to be online yesterday. Today, well, not going to do 2 days in a row, but I wasn't feeling so great today. And my intent was in the beginning of my day, I was going to come in with all my energy and give a good show right off the hop, coming into my live today, and then disperse all that energy. And then just whatever was left over, I was quite happy just to sit in my office chair and stare off to space, right? And just leave that energy here on my platform. But again, I was going, oh, right? Because I really didn't feel good, and I didn't want to push myself. I wanted it to be on my own terms, not maybe on my own terms, but where I felt that maybe I could bring something to the table when I came live tonight. So I got ready. I decided I'm going to feel like a human being, and I colored my hair. You guys, it just might be the last time I color my hair in a blonde. I think I might try to do something that will kind of make it so that I can grow in to my senior years, right? I can't be 16 forever, though sometimes I feel like I could. Not today, but sometimes I feel like I could. I am grateful for my good health, and I am not whining because there are a lot of scary things going on out in the world, right? And for me to recognize it's a cold, right? And it could be something a lot worse. I know people struggling with so much worse than a cold. And if that's all that I'm going to have to deal with in the moment, and all right, there's little hiccups along the way, but again, that's just our life, isn't it? Right? And that is life. But that's that movement, and it's going to be in our choices that's going to dictate the direction that we're going to go in. Right? I'm looking forward to the future, even though I have no idea, right? What's coming at me? What disaster is going to befall, right? What heartbreak I'm going to have to go through. But there's going to be joy and happiness and excitement and fun and wonder and curiosity and tenderness and knowledge, right? We just want things all cushy, cushy, couch in the remote control. And that is amazing. And that's just what you need when you're not feeling good, right? When you're not feeling good, when you feel that you need to take that break, when you feel that, right, you're just not up to par, that you may be a little bit under the weather, that you're treating yourself, right, like you do matter because you do matter. I matter, right? And so that's why I didn't feel bad last night when I didn't come in. And if you know me, if you've been hanging out with me for any length of time, you know that guilt and shame are the steering wheels in my life, right? That highly sensitive, right? It's just our nature sometimes, to believe in what is being dictated to us, right? And even though we can think for ourselves because we're taught another way, right? And it is in that guardianship, it is in that honor thy mother and thy father that we sometimes get those wires a little bit crossed because we're so eager to please, right? We're so eager to be the good child. And I don't know where that came from. It came in. So it's there, right? Maybe it's something for me to come back in and check out. So you guys, we're going to quickly, right? It's been a kind of a strange week, not just for me, right? But for lots of people that I'm encountering in that little bit of movement that I believe I'm making, right? Got a new dresser here, got a little space in my closet. The dishes are done, the laundry is done. I got that done. Is there stuff that I didn't get done? Sure. But is it good enough to start the week? I think so. And you know what? If I have a good sleep tonight, and I am sleeping pretty good now. When I first started this cold, I wasn't sleeping. Now I'm sleeping pretty good now, right? I was going to bed. I was going to bed too early, right? I wasn't feeling good, so I was going to bed, but I wasn't truly tired. I was just truly sick. My throat. I'm very surprised because I haven't been talking either on my set of days off. So it's good to see that my voice is not too harsh. So, anyway, let's give it a couple of minutes and we're going to have a first perspective for the first thing that comes to my mind in this powerful word, in this deck of 54 powerful words. And yeah, we'll call it a night, a good night, a positive night, right? Best of times, it was the worst of times. Whistle while you work, right? Doesn't have to be all frowns and heartbreak and miseries, right? It can be the joys. And just like all the joys, it doesn't have to be all joys. It can have those heartbreaks and miseries and frustrations. It can have those too, right? It's what makes us balance. It's the dance we have with those, right? Because they're coming around, right? It's unavoidable. And that's where we're going to shine, right? And that's where we're going to be the evidence that it can be done. Okay, you guys, couple minutes. And the word we're going to grab tonight is tenderness, right? Okay, well, two things popped into my mind pretty much at the same time. The one, the tenderness was in taking care of myself, in recognizing that last night I needed that break, right? I took it. I wasn't up to par. I wasn't into it. It's not that I didn't want to come into it. It was just I was just not feeling well enough that I thought that I could bring in a message and be genuine in that. That tenderness for myself, right? To say it's okay, Cindy. This is something you don't have to feel guilt or shame about, and I didn't. And like I said, if you've been hanging out with me for any length of time, you know it doesn't take much, right? It was the steering wheel of my life. The second thing in this word tenderness is the idea that I might not have made it to where I am right now if I didn't feel like I was loved in my life. And I dig, right? I set you up for my failure, right? I will test you. I will grade you, right? But it is in that avoidance of being hurt, being betrayed, and especially by the people that you're so convinced love you, right? As much as you love them. Being highly sensitives, right? We're able to feel out the difference. We can feel through the masquerade. We can feel if something's real or if something is just in the pursuit of something else, right? And so tenderness was something that I recognized when it came across my path because it didn't come across my path too often, right? My father, the great example, got me through my early childhood and my early adulthood, right? He wasn't even supposed to live long enough to even have a family, let alone to see me graduate from high school, right? And he got me through just the fact that he loved me, that I knew there was somebody out there that loved me. And it was just enough to get me to that point where I found somebody else to love me, right? And it's in that letting go and holding on and receiving and giving in all those relationships that I had that made it so that I could be here, right? Lots of people, they don't get to have that tenderness. If I didn't have my father in my life, I wouldn't have recognized tenderness. I would have thought it foreign, alien, right? Because I only recognized it and experienced with it with my father. And to be honest in this, my friends and their relationships with their parents. So that's where I would see the discrepancy and the oddity. But because of the, right, honor thy mother and thy father, and because I had become codependent on that one thing that was keeping me safe, right? And that was my father and my father's love. But it's so important because if I hadn't had that, I might have been a narcissist. And I know what a bum game that is. And I'm bum game saying that, to be able to go through those kind of experiences and you come out a different end, right? And yet sometimes we make the people who toughen up that kind of go cold sometimes, that right lose that little bit of trust because they've never had that tenderness, they've never recognized that tenderness in their life, that we look at them, right, as the bad guy, right, as the one that's the problem. And I recognize, and I've even in my own experiences growing up with my mother was not a touchy feely person. She wasn't a loving person that way. She didn't hug you or kiss you or told you she loved you or say, walk to school safe, don't get hit by a car, right? See you soon, get home safe. That just was not my, that was just not my mother. And because I read into that, like I always do in the intent, right? I recognize and I understand how easily it would have been for me to fall in to that trap of codependency, because it was that tenderness that my father offered so abundantly, right? That I recognized that I had somebody in my life who cared for me when everything else in my life dictated a different understanding. And because of that, I uh, I was able to differentiate the right from wrong. I was able to learn. intent and delve into it a little bit deeper. So, because I was always so worried of making judgments and making a wrong decision about somebody or thinking badly of somebody and not getting it right, that I would have to really delve into it, right? And really use good judgment and good discernment, which is a fairly new word for me, in the putting in the action of that, right? But let's go back to this word tenderness. And this was one of the ones that I've written down a thought on. So let's hear what I said here. Tenderness is in the appreciation that we are only human and that we live in a world of all kinds of humans. It's so true, because I didn't understand my mother, right? I was kind of standoffish. I was kind of afraid of her, right? She didn't offer up what I needed, right? What I needed. But that wasn't because that she didn't want to. Sometimes we're just not capable of, because of the experiences that we have, that it kind of hardens it up. It hardens us up. It makes us cold, right? But if we can take into consideration, if we have children or grandchildren, right? If we have kids living next door and stuff, in tenderness, it's just in that kindness and in that consideration, right? In that thoughtfulness and in that compassion that we have for someone else, right? And that means a lot, right? Saying something to somebody like "you're amazing" might just seem like a word, right? But it might be everything to somebody else. Okay, you guys. Hello, Hannah. How are you today? I'm still hacking away at that cold. I'm back to work tomorrow in that job that puts the roof over my head. Grateful for that job, right? That's going to put me back into action because, right? Cindy just wants to sit in the chair and stare off into space. But we got some stuff done anyway. I'm always moving. I'm always moving forward. And I hope, right, no matter what's going on in your life, you gotta understand we still gotta move forward, right? Yeah. Right? You look in the world, everybody, they don't have a choice, right? Sometimes we're put in situations where we really don't get a say, and we can sit in our haunches, like I said, and just, right, tell a different story or tell no story at all and stare off into space. We can get ourselves up off the ground, dust our knees off, and just move forward the best that we can, right? Okay, you guys, that's my good cheer, and we'll see you tomorrow.